Hi, this is Ross Payton here with Role Playing Public Radio. This is episode 15. Let's split up, gang! And of course, with me is Tom Church over here.
Yeah, as I was watching you say those lines, I couldn't help noticing, I can almost see the enunciation going on in your mouth. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing how quickly that ends when you're done with the intro.
Oh, thanks,
and
Tom.
Then you're just back to doing your normal shit.
It's because I care. Because the intro is important.
You care about the intro, but everything else can go fuck itself, right?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Tom, Mr. Oh, I'm the great voice actor, and Ross just sucks. No. Anyways, so here we are with episode 15, and of course, if you've been paying attention to RPPR, I recently did a interview with Tarn Adams, the creator of Dwarf Fortress.
Oh yeah, let's just talk about what Ross does.
Well, it's about the podcast, Tom. It's just, I've taken the initiative to interview game designers and whatnot. Unlike, some co-hosts that I'll leave on.
Do not go there.
Okay. I'll just let the listeners decide. But anyways, it's been a huge hit. We had a little minor technical problems, but it was a good interview, 90 minutes long. Got a really great response. So
you're only saying it was great because of the gigantic freaking response it got.
Yeah.
Is that basically what you're basing it off
And
of?
the feedback, how most everyone really liked it. Yeah, so.
Well, fuck you and I, Ross.
Aw. Poor Tom.
Maybe it's jealousy coming out of my voice. I don't know.
Well, of course you could interview game designers, but that would require you to actually,
Would you people actually like that to happen? Me interview someone?
Yeah.
If you would,
yes, we would. See?
Holy crap! There they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, fine. I must interview someone then. If any of you know anyone to interview, you can write me or or psychically send me a message.
Post it on our message boards, which we have up, or post a comment in the thread for this episode. Anything you think of. Yeah.
Communication's all good.
It is. Communication is great. Speaking of that, we should communicate about donations. We've set up donations on the site. You can PayPal us if you feel RPPR is a good podcast. We'll use the money to pay for web hosting, equipment, all that other jazz.
Things that, aren't exactly related to podcasting, but we need anyway.
Somebody's got to pay for that vault you drink, Tom, so.
Mother of God, that is good.
Yes. So if we've decided we come up a few rewards if you want to donate to RPPR.
There it was again.
What?
That enunciation, stopping yourself from screwing something up.
I know. It's because I care, and because, I'm...
It's just entertaining to watch.
Okay. So, anyways, the first level of donation is obviously to subscribe for $2 a month. You can keep RPPR afloat. If you do so, we'll give a shout out to you on our next episode whenever you sign up initially, and we'll post a link to whatever website you want.
You will be on the internet.
Internets. Or no, internets is kind of out of... That's no longer fun.
We cannot make a joke that is more than a week old.
Pretty much. A week? Yeah. Anyways, however, if you're a big spender, you could give us a one-time donation. For example, if you wanted to give us $20, we will do a character for you. We'll write up a character for whatever game system you want and whatever type. It could be you. Of course, we don't know you, but you could.
We could sure give it our best chance to
judging on your Facebook or MySpace or whatever else. So, or just your enemy or your friends, family, whatever. We'll be glad to do that. For $50, we'll do a character with an elaborate backstory of a few thousand words. Of course, again, this could be whatever you want as long as it's not, a Harry Potter fan fiction.
Your father was Indiana Jones.
Oh, God. Thanks for bringing that up, Tom.
Oh, I brought it up. I went there.
So, and for $100...
But please, we're serious
if you're the
writers.
big monies, if you're rolling in the monies, we'll write an entire scenario for your campaign. However you want. Specifically for your players. However you want to. We'll write, a 2,000-word or so adventure. And so... for whatever system you want, provided we actually have it and we can do it. If not, we'll improvise. We'll talk. We'll figure something out. So, or Tom, you had the idea of
or for $100 again, we will write one of our skits, which I know we haven't done a lot of recently, but we will actually write one like the Game Masters or the Elitist Fuck, one of your choice, or you can ask us to make up a whole new one.
Extreme XP, the energy drink that gives you experience points. Yeah, we can do your own little 3-minute or so skit about whatever you want, as long as it's not totally out of the question.
And funny.
Yeah. No, the funny we'll try and do.
Well, that's okay. That's true. We'll take that responsibility off of you.
Yeah. Just give us the idea, whatever topic you want. If you want it to be about, your homebrew RPG that no one else in the world has ever played, and no one else will get the jokes, just send us the RPG. We'll try and make sense out of it. If you want to do it about the world of Cinnabar, which is one of the worst RPGs ever, or if you want to do about pretty much anything, we'll be glad to do it. So,
or the game simulator you have on being a coach passenger on some transatlantic flight.
Wow, I would play a game like that. Or an avant-garde RPG where you play furniture.
Oh my god.
Yes, because that was a callback to
art.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Exactly. The one commercial we did. So anyways, just throwing that out there. Of course, the topic we are going to do for this episode was suggested by one of our listeners, and on the Facebook group, I think. And it's splitting up the party. That hence the title, Let's Split Up Gang. The phrase spoken in pretty much every single Scooby Doo episode ever.
So, we all know, so Fred can be alone with Daphne while all these two stoners and the talking dog go off and do
Stop
their
talking
thing.
about that fan fiction you wrote, Tom. I know you're proud of it, but,
Hey, that fan fiction was good. Is there a Scooby Doo episode when Nazis show up and kill them because they try to uncover the mystery of the evil Nazis, which there was no mystery, they were just evil Nazis?
No, and that's...
I didn't think so.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to forget your fan fiction, but...
Well, there, you remembered it now.
Yeah. Anyways, this is, of course, one of the central challenges in running a game. Sooner or later, no matter...
Well, especially if you have a big group.
Right. But not necessarily... Even if you 3 players, dungeon crawl, isolated place, that they all have to stick together, sooner or later, they'll find a reason to split up. And, what do? One player's fighting a goblin, the other one's figuring out a trap, and the other is reading a book in a corner or something like that, So... there are several techniques you can do to keep the game going and keep it fun. Now, the problem with running a game and splitting the party up is I'm sure every single gamer at some point or another has been in a game where the game master focuses way too long on one player or players and leaves everyone else
usually
basically
his best friends and or girlfriends.
Yeah,
and
or not necessarily the best friends, but the people who've been playing the campaign the longest, and they've got these elaborate backstories and these incredibly cool, plot lines and all this other stuff. And your character shows up for the first game. And you're like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And
you seem trustworthy.
Yeah, and then all right, well, you could help us fight the evil bad guys. As soon as the evil bad guys killed, they all break off and do their plot lines again. You're left twiddling your thumb. So what do? So yeah, that really sucks. I've been in some games like that.
As I think we all have.
Yeah. So the trick here is, Tom, you had a good term for what to avoid or what...
Yeah, player dead air.
Yeah.
Just, in radio, you try to avoid that, and in gaming, you need to avoid...
Yeah.
You need to avoid the players just sitting there doing nothing for a long time.
Yeah. The key here, I think, isn't necessarily leaving the player alone. It's leaving a player alone for a long time, and B, leaving them with nothing to do or nothing to really think about or prepare or plan.
Or marginalizing what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing that happens a lot. It's like, oh yeah, sure, okay, you do this, blah blah blah. Okay, let's get back to you, Melissa, hot gamer chick. Let's do your plot for the rest. Okay, the other 5 of you can screw off. Yeah,
so Roll's like, roll that seduction check, roll it.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the first thing you need to think of is going back between all the players relatively quickly. I mean, try to keep each group or each action, like maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes at most. 15 minutes at most.
I think even at 15 minutes, you are really pushing it.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, well, you know how hard it is to get the average person to focus for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
It's damn near impossible.
And the thing is, whenever you switch try to use, a cliffhanger, or, like every television show always leaves on a commercial break at a cliffhanger, like, oh no, Buffy is about to be killed by a vampire.
What the fuck are you doing watching Buffy, Ross?
I'm not. I'm just brought it up as an example.
Okay, well, I'll believe that for now.
No, I wasn't. I was totally not thinking about how you hate Buffy, and that you mentioned in the other episode. Totally wasn't thinking of that at all.
Stick to the topic, Ross. Stick to the topic.
Okay, but any TV show worth, its, I don't know, ratings? I don't know. Will leave the characters on a cliffhanger, so you'll actually want to watch through the commercials, or at least suffer through the commercials, so you'll see what the hell happens to the character when the, episode show comes back. That's the key right there. Put the player on a cliffhanger and be like, okay, you see 3 goblins, you can ambush them. So while you figure out how you're going to ambush them, whether you're going to use your magic, your spells, or your dagger, or whatever else, I'll go over to the next group and see what they want to do.
Scene shift.
Yeah, exactly. Move the camera from, player A to player B.
Well, and also, it doesn't have to be a cliffhanger either. You can also make them, have them do something that takes a few minutes to do.
Well, that's true, but you want to leave them with something to think about or something to consider.
Even not a cliffhanger. Like, say, okay, you are breaking into the system. It's going to take you about 5 minutes to bypass all the security. They can use that time to figure out, okay, so what are you going to do when you actually get in?
Right, that's true. Or, better yet, of course, the player's favor will be, okay, you get into town. What are you going to buy? While you're thinking about what you're going to buy,
or which of these bar wenches you're going to bang.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to think realistically here.
Yes. Or better yet, if you can't do any of that, have the player go out, run an errand, or get some more Cheetos and Mountain Dew for the group, because we're all gamers.
And we all drink Cheetos and drink Mountain Dew and
all that fun stuff. So of course the main thing. So that's the basic idea, is to keep switching rapidly and try and leave each player pause each player on something that they remain active. The thing you want to avoid is a place where they're done, they have nothing to think about, they have nothing to do, and they're just waiting for you again.
And then their turn comes back around. It's like, well, what's left to be done?
Yeah, exactly. One good thing you could leave them on is put them in a conversation with another PC. That's another, that's not a cliffhanger per se, but I think that's a really good place to pause them, because then they can argue all day long while you go deal with the other players.
Just make sure they don't start talking so loud they start overlapping everyone else.
That's true. I mean,
as the GM, you got to keep order while doing this too.
You could ask them to leave the room or move over, to another place. Have them go, if they're smokers, have them go out on a smoke break or whatever. Now I know, in some of the games.
And trust me, I've yet to meet a young smoker in one of these groups that, if you say, would you like a cigarette now? They never say, no, not right now, thank you.
Yeah, right. They are pretty. Like, I got my Marlboro.
And I have smoking smarts. I know how to do it, do the cool way, and and then speak as I exhale, like, yeah, my life is a real drag.
Drag, like a drag of a cigarette.
Double entendre.
Yes, exactly. So that's a basic thing. Now, of course, then the idea is, how long.
Yeah.
Do you want to...
This thing is a lot about timing.
Yeah. So how do you keep...
with my group, I actually use their faces themselves. As, I'm pretty good at running what's going on here with this group, with group A, while also noticing what group B and C are, their faces on the players. And you can start, especially if you know them, you can start to tell when their eyes start glazing over, they start getting a little more fidgety.
Yeah.
At that point, it's, that's like... the Oscar music. Start wrapping it up. Get shit moving.
Right. So that's definitely a good point. Now, so again, that's sort of what I do when
I played with you. I remember you often do it's like, okay, quickly, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And if they can't, and unless they have an answer ready to go, I move off. If they say, well, I don't know. Okay, well, while you're thinking about that, I go over to the next one. So, again, that's the basic structure. Keep it fast, keep it fast-paced between each group. Leave each player in a moment of decision or a cliffhanger or a conversation, and watch the other players. Make sure everyone's being entertained, having fun. And if they're bored out of their mind, then you
can tell.
Yeah.
Just, looking away, having private conversations about other topics.
Yeah.
Breaking books out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of shit you need to watch out.
Yeah. Of course, it goes without saying you should ban all major distractions. No TV, no video games. Cell phone calls should, either be cell phone should be off, or if you have to take a call, leave the table. That's just.
Hey, can I make a personal note here about distractions or that? For the love of God or whatever you consider holy, and you're playing music for the game, don't suddenly turn this up. I really like this, and then do it. And then first, no, I want listen to this.
Yeah,
because trust me, most likely the other people don't care.
That's true. That
happened to me last week.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say it was some song. I don't even remember the song or the group. I don't give a shit. But he actually stopped the game for 3 minutes.
Wow.
So he's like, "No, okay, now I want you to listen to this song." And anytime one of us we try to do our little thing, he's like, "Don't talk, listen."
What song was this, by the way?
I wasn't listening, obviously.
Yeah.
I was actually going 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Wow, I would not play under a game with that person.
I'm not.
Is it someone I know, or is it?
No. This was actually someone I met at work.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, better luck next time. Anyway, so of course now.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, good to get it off your chest. That's the basic structure, but there are more advanced things you can do as well. Now, you need to start thinking about the game itself. Like when you're splitting a party up, think about what the players, step back and think about the larger plot. Of course, the first thing you should do is try and consolidate groups whenever possible.
Right.
You don't want, if you have 6 players, you don't want 6 different directions. You want 2 different directions: a group of 3 and a group of 3, or a group of 4 and a group of 2.
Actually, a good movie like the movie Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
11 characters all working. Most of the time they're separated.
Yeah.
But they're all working towards the same thing.
Yeah.
That's another thing I often use for inspiration myself. There's a lot of movies you can do that with.
Well, a lot of the tasks that the characters in Ocean 11s have are very simple tasks. They could be done in a few skill roles. I'm talking about, getting the equipment ready, driving
the routes.
Yeah. And the interesting stuff is when they're all together and bouncing off of each other. And that's what you want, the players bouncing off each other, in conflict with each other, or sort of trying to figure it out,
conflicting personalities and egos.
Yeah. So that's sort of something to keep in mind. Now, the thing is, also connected to that, think of how you can connect these different plot threads, these different groups, these different players together. It's really cool whenever, player A goes off in this direction, player B goes off in this direction, player C goes off in a third direction, and you figure out how to get them all together later on, in a way that's organic, not just, you don't want to make it railroaded, or if you do railroad it, you want to make the rails invisible. You don't want the players to know that you're forcing them this direction. You want to give them the illusion of free choice, or give them a reasonable thing. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Just try and figure out how you can push them all in the same way.
Yeah, because I guarantee it, if as you said, the tracks are visible, they'll call you out.
Yeah. So that's sort of the tricks. The trick, of course, how to do that. That's a whole separate topic of making the railroading invisible. That's for a future episode. But of course, now the other advanced thing is obviously dealing with large groups. How do you deal with 8 players?
Now, I've only ever played in groups of that size. I've never run groups of that size.
I have. Yeah.
Yes, I know you have.
You were in it.
That's one of the games I played. Yes.
Yeah. I've run a few games with 6, 8 players.
And it doesn't take much when the independent little conversations start going on. It just gets chaotic.
Yeah. This when you're dealing with many more players than you're really used to. More than 4. You really need to start thinking not just these little techniques for moving back and forth between all the players, because at a certain point you're going to get lost with all the details, with all the information. So you have to keep track of all this stuff yourself. So you want to keep it as simple as possible. So you have to think at a more structural level, make the scenario more interesting. Or not more interesting, but more suitable for large groups. So, for example, like in Mask of Nyarlathotep, I kept it at one location, like a mansion where everyone was showing up. There was a ballroom, fancy dancing. This was in the 20s. And there was, the subplot where they had to get in the safe. They hired a safe cracker, and they had all this stuff going on. But, I couldn't have run it if there was more than one location. I mean, it just would have been too much. But I also prepared a lot. I got, blueprints out of the mansion. I figured out who all the bad guys were in advance. I figured out what they were going to do. And that's, so you need to prepare in advance. And
most of the characters knew what we were there for.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what they're like is like, okay, I'm here to do this. You're here to do this. You're here to do this.
And I sort of try to keep various centers of action. I didn't try to entertain each PC at each location. I was fine with just saying, okay, there's nothing going on in this room, or there's just you search it, nothing going on. I tried to sort of encourage them to go to the ballroom where everyone was, or the room with the safe, or things.
And also,
like that.
You kept it quick too.
Yeah, very quick. And
it's like, okay, what are you doing? All right, do it. And what are you doing? And there's a lot like just move on.
Yeah, and that keeps the players more interested because they're more tense. They're like, oh crap, I missed my chance. What's going to happen to my character or whatever? So that's of course the first thing you should do, or one of the things you should do. And
but also watch out for doing it too fast, because then they might just be too busy thinking of what they're going to do and miss out on what all the other players are doing.
Yeah. Another thing is obviously, again, I mean, I use basically all the techniques we've talked about so far. Get the players talking to each other. Kept a few centers of action, try to get them to group into small little teams. One thing I did that I was really happy with was there was a lot of combat, a lot of action going on, but I kept everything down to as few skill rolls as possible. Like one gunshot, no initiative, then gun, then fire, then damage, blah blah blah. If they made their gun check, they shot one of the bad guys, and that was that.
I remember like one particular nightmare combat scenario of 8 players in a Rifts game.
Oh wow!
And we were like sixth and 7th level characters, so the combat went on for fucking ever.
Yeah, you cannot use a complex system with 8 players unless you are prepared to run a 12-hour game or a 6-hour game. I mean... Well,
God, of course, you remember the siege on the Illithid city?
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of like the ultimate thing I've done was run an epic level game with like 5 players or 6 players. 6. All 24th level, all with epic leadership, or most with epic leadership, so they had epic companions, they're basically on the good guy side, they had several hundred characters versus several thousand bad guys. And I had probably 10, 20 epic villains statted out to throw at them. And we went through it round by round. It was like a 30-round combat. And
over 2 sessions.
Yeah, 2 sessions. And it was just ridiculous. It was probably 6 to 8 hours of playing altogether.
But I gotta say, something interesting is actually when on the second session came up and everyone arrived, there was like no chatter. It's like, let's get this fucking thing going.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've ever experienced that, where there's no just like, okay, do we want to get started now? Or no, it was like, let's go. Yeah,
they were on a mission. So, it can be incredibly rewarding to have that kind of in ridiculous depth, stuff, this very epic feeling. I mean, that's something you're going to remember for a long time.
Yeah, and like with large groups, like if they're actually clicking,
with your friends,
it's it's awesome.
Yeah, and that I think that it's fair to say that was one of your favorite battles of all.
Oh yeah, it's one I talk about to my other groups today.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that I ran it. It's just not something I would do on a weekly basis.
Well, it's pretty much after it was over, we had to go. Whew, we had to step back and just. And then, of course, there was discussion for another 2 hours.
Yeah, just like, did you see the time? And, I mean, just all the things that were going on. There's Patrick, was just happy that he managed to get rid of this one pit fiend that would teleport in, attack them, and then teleport out. Patrick's paladin kept bringing it down to like 3 hit points in one round, but he could never kill it in one round. So the demon would teleport away, heal itself, then come right back. And Patrick hated that guy.
He took it personally.
Yeah, just because he could never kill it in one go, and it was just being a jerk, bouncing back and forth. And I had a good time with that. And so yeah, that's sort of the thing. That's sort of the ultimate reward is having this, legendary battle or this legendary session with all these players and just ridiculous,
especially
over the top.
Especially a battle that's spread out.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be one, but
spread over the same area.
Yeah,
that's of course where you do have to kind of split up the group for that.
Yeah,
and it can also be a total clusterfuck if it doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I had written initiative sheets and I kept everything on notes and I was pretty meticulous and I've memorized the 3.5 rules. I mean, I just knew them.
God help you when fourth ed comes out, man.
Fourth ed ain't gonna mean no thing.
It don't mean shit.
Yeah. I got that licked. Yeah, that's nothing.
It's like, bitch, fourth ed's my bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever you're planning for a large group, you have to plan differently for a large group than for a small group. So just keep all that in mind. If you have any questions on running a split-up group or a large group, feel free to let us know. But again...
Or not just questions, if you have ideas of your own.
Yeah, but just to summarize, give each player as much equal face time. Keep the time between each player short. Give them something to think about, something to do while you're away from them.
Most importantly, keep them entertained.
Keep them entertained.
That's the bottom line.
Don't let them get bored. Don't be that guy. Don't be that game master who's a total dick and ignores players for an hour or more at a time. Don't be that guy, or we will come to your house and we will get you.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Tom.
We'll give them something to think about, though.
Yeah.
We'll talk bad about them on the internet.
Yes. So if you got a game master like that, let us know and we'll badmouth him for you.
And if you have his phone
number... Or if you donate, we'll badmouth the hell out of him.
And if you give us his phone number, we'll post it. You can call that fucker.
No, I think that's harassment.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, we can do it without posting it then.
Yeah.
If email us if you want the guy's phone number.
Okay, Tom. Anyways, so that's splitting up the gang. Next up, we have a letter from Tom.
Always.
Scooby snack. Scrappy Doo is pumping Shaggy's leg. Scooby Doo, where are you? Velma started sniffing glue. Shaggy's doing wonderful.
And now a letter from Tom. Last time I did a letter, I gave you all a poem that showed off my artistic creative side, the side of me that likes to don a maroon smoking jacket, procure a glass of fine brandy, sit back in an expensive recliner, sit next to a roaring fireplace, and wax poetic with you until we all pass out thinking about Chardonnay wine and Marcel Proust. Well, today, it's time to get back to my normal subject, spewing bile and hatred at things that piss me off in the gaming world. And the world of games leaves me no shortage of things to fling poo at. A veritable cornucopia of shit, if you will. For today's shitfest, I leave the realm of tabletop RPGs and plug into the MMORPG cyber clusterfuck. And the shit we shall sample today is Star Wars Galaxies. So let's strap into our X-Wings, grab our cock meat sandwiches, and jerk off in a mediocre adventure. Let me begin by saying that I love the Star Wars D20 RPG, especially the Saga Edition. I have enjoyed many games of it, plus the recent campaign I have started is looking to be a good one. So one of my friends said, "Hey, you like Star Wars, come join our guild in Galaxies." I said, okay. Never mind the fact that I have always hated the endless grind of MMORPGs. But I thought, hey, it's Star Wars. Surely that will make the grindfest easier to take, right? Sigh. Tom, you stupid, brain-dead little fucktard. Why must you keep being stupid? That aside, I made my character a Trandoshan musician and began my grind to level 90. As everyone knows, you have to be at least level 80 or higher to really start playing the game. So I parked myself in a random cantina, used a macro, and left it on overnight for 2 nights. Soon I was level 90 and ready to play. Who fucking rah. I quickly learned that entertainers' balls are tiny when compared to the combat classes, so even some tiny rat could still kill me like a Buick dropping on a 5-year-old. All the cool missions were unavailable, so I was left to play music and buff other better characters in cantinas for tips, just like some large lizard whore. And it's Star Wars, so I couldn't exactly be a metal musician. All I was able to play was cantina music, while a fuckload of scantily clad female Twi'leks and a few scantily clad males danced around swinging glow sticks. Oh, I suppose I could have grinded for a few more weeks in one of the combat classes, but soon the whole point of it was lost. Why the fuck should I pay $15 a month for the privilege of playing through this shit over and over? So I dropped it like a hot potato with a case of the clap. Besides, if I want scantily clad alien guys dancing like idiots in cantinas, I'll just play with my gaming group in the Star Wars RPG. And with that, I get the added pleasure of having a player sing Baby Got Back in a Gungan accent.
These losers are really fucked. Better get your ass in gear. And I tell it over here. Them was either dead or really ill.
Well, Tom, thanks for... But how do you really feel about Star Wars Galaxy?
Brother, if I didn't pour my heart out to you in this, I don't know what more I can say.
All right.
Well, granted, I did write this, in my brief periods of time off at work today, so...
Oh, okay.
It's in pencil and pretty shitty handwriting.
I'm sure our listeners really care about that.
I just thought I'd mention it.
Okay.
Full disclosure.
All right. Fair enough. Anyways, of course, now we have our shout-outs. I'll start with... a video game I've just started playing, Cave Story. It's a PC game along the lines, a side-scrolling adventure game along the lines of Metroid, or Castlevania, other games like that.
Most NES games made.
Yeah, it's done by this Japanese guy. It's been translated to English. It's totally free, and it's quite fun so far. I've been playing with my Xbox 360 controller hooked up to my PC, and it's quite entertaining. I don't know what the hell it's about or who the characters really are. Or
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Anyways, Tom, you had one?
Yep. Actually, and going to my thing of doing old PC games, my shout-out's to the game Shadowcaster.
Yeah.
One that I actually have the privilege of, I own on the original CD, so it actually plays. And the great thing is you don't need a sound blaster to have sound in this.
Okay.
But it's kind of like it's a first-person RPG. Kind of like levels are kind of remind me of Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
Where you play like a guy that can shapeshift into different monster forms and use their powers. Yeah, it's pretty simplistic, but it's one of those games you start playing and then you happen to notice 3 hours have passed.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's mine.
So, of course, lastly, before we go, we have the anecdote. And Tom, you mentioned Star Wars earlier.
Yes, I was not lying when I said I had started running a campaign using the Star Wars Saga Edition.
Right.
Which I find much more simplified. I really like it. But I ran the introductory scenario. We spent most of the time making characters and then about 2.5 hours of actual play.
Right.
And I apparently had one of those rare moments where the gaming and comedy gods smiled upon me and let me do a scene that they actually had to stop, for a while to laugh. I relish those. Well, anyway, my players will remain unnamed, as I haven't asked their permission for this.
I don't think they'll care.
Probably not. But okay. One of the players is a Jedi, and it takes place in the Civil War, so Jedi must remain hidden lest they be hunted down. So he's been hiding for the last several years, working as a bartender in a cantina on Nar Shaddaa, which is the moon of Nal Hutta,
right?
Where the Hutt homeworld. So there's mostly a lot of Hutt mercenaries and whatnot go there, and as an addition, the bartender working with him is a human that just to give him a little flavor, I actually kind of gave him the flaming accent.
Okay.
You know what I mean.
The flaming gay
accent, yes.
Okay.
And he's popular. He's one of the popular characters.
The whole lisp and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they fabulous kind of thing.
Yeah.
So finally, the other two players make it there, and I decided to do this. Like I said, some of the players knew each other, and some will be suddenly brought in. So they go into this cantina to hide, and the bartender PC has made a reputation for himself by making drinks the Huts like that are like extremely powerful, made of like engine coolant and things and various chemicals.
Right.
So I decide that at this point, one of the Hut capos, or the equivalent, comes in because he's heard of this guy and wishes to sample one for himself.
Right.
So he comes in, requests one, and actually the player did quite a job. Oh, yes, of course, and kind of like not Don Corleone, but like Sonny Corleone suddenly walked in.
Okay.
So he makes the drink, and as this happens, I totally thought of this out of my ass. The flaming gay bartender looks up. Suddenly, all the ridiculous smile vanishes. Reaches under the counter, pulls out a shoulder-mounted proton torpedo launcher.
Okay.
And fires it, and basically vaporizes the Hut capo and his entire entourage.
Okay.
Which I apparently made. This has been his goal for the whole time he's working at the cantina. Get a shot at this one Hut.
Okay.
And of course, he leaps over the bar, runs out. And now the whole place scatters, and so now the 3 PCs are left in this cantina, having to get the fuck out because a capo was just vaporized.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, and then of course the rest they flee the cantina, get passage aboard a freighter that doesn't ask any questions.
Yeah.
And have to escape, but
Aluminum Falcon or something like that.
Something like that. But they said, but after that session was over, they said, please bring that guy back in.
Okay. Why did you decide to do that just on the spur of the moment?
I knew that. I knew what I kind of wanted to do, but a lot of times I'll leave the details out until I'm actually.
So you
running.
wanted the capo to die?
Yes. Well, not so much that. I wanted a sudden emergency causing them to have to flee.
Okay.
Leave most of their shit behind and just get the hell out. And the player playing the bartender wanted to say like, okay, we just say that I've been I'm making a name by making these really ridiculously powerful drinks. Like, okay, so I went with that.
I see. Okay. I mean, I could see. Okay, with that I could see that, but when you're talking about this earlier, I was sort of confused because this capo got killed. Now all the players, are put in danger. That's kind of a jerk thing to do if you just do it totally randomly. If you weren't, but you had a plan. Okay, I
did have a plan, and the details all kind of came to me as I was doing it. But
okay. Because I've had game masters just like, back in the high school game.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Where like, haha, you're dead, or haha, you're now wanted, or haha, a dragon flies overhead. Or
you're de-liched.
Yeah,
I mention that to everyone I possibly can.
Just like, you're buying something at the grocery store. It's like, he was de-liched. It's like, it's $5.87, son.
It's like, but,
yeah.
But I knew I hit gold there because I know that, I know the difference between the players' faces when you do something that's totally out of your ass, and they know it's totally out of your ass, and it makes no sense. They're like, the
right.
look. This was a look of like, holy fuck, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I got that look from all of them. Good.
Sounds like a fun game.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be.
Cool. And it'll obviously implode in a few sessions. Now that
no, it's going quite well. It's been 3 sessions now, and shows no signs of stopping.
Well, I'm just saying it will because you've said of how great it's going. So.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, fate, and everyone will just kill each other in the next session.
One of my players likes to keep a list of all the memorable NPCs that we encounter in our games.
Yeah,
and he quickly wrote down, gay bartender assassin guy. He doesn't even have a name yet. It's just gay bartender assassin guy.
It'd be like comic book guy only, or
exactly,
Bumblebee Man or any of the others.
Worst NPC ever.
There we go. Or best NPC ever. Anyways, all right, so that's been RPPR episode 15. Let's split up, gang. I'm Ross Payton, and of course
I'm Tom. And Ross, don't ever say that we'll split up, gang, in that voice again.
Okay, I swear, as long as I watch Buffy the Vampire.
Don't go there, Ross. You are treading upon things that are not a good place to go.
All right.
Once you start on this path, forever will it dominate your destiny.
All right, we'll see you on the message board.
Catch you on the flip side.
some demonic poltergeist. Red dwarf Shaggy's water pipe, skewing things are looking pretty bleak. Scooby Doo, where are you? Velma's walking Scrappy Doo. Shaggy's doing jello shots in the quick check parking lot, and now Velma's too messed up to speak. Started smoking crack, Scrappy snorting Scooby snacks. Man, these wasteoids really have to chill. Scooby Doo, what the fuck? These losers are really fucked.